Welcome to Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. Wow, the year is half over. This podcast is being brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at wyomingadvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Well, as we head into this first day of July, the weather really pretty typical for this time of year. You can see the tall grass in that fawn. The tall grass has gotten deep and thick in some areas where the rain has been. In areas that really need the rain, they'd like to see the grass grow a little bit more. And with the thunderstorm activity picking up today, that could happen in some areas. We have the day 2 behind a cold front scenario popping up for some areas along and east of the divide today, while the monsoon moisture plume we've been watching will affect the southwest United States and areas along and west of the divide today. Now, the deepest plume of moisture where it will be the most impactful, especially for the desert southwest, the southern Rockies, and areas along the western slopes. Tomorrow and Thursday is where the heaviest rain potential is going to be, especially over the higher terrain in the mountains where the thunderstorms are going to want to form. There is a eastward and northward shift of the monsoon moisture plume over the weekend. It'll take it out of the deserts, push it more to the northern and central Rockies, and then out into the plains by the 4th of July weekend. That will lead to drier conditions returning to areas west of the divide for a few days. Temperatures will be pretty warm, and basically it's going to be warmest where the moisture will be the thinnest, and that'll be the northern plains, northern Rockies, into southern and southwest Canada. Going to be very, very warm, while where the deeper moisture will be, the more clouds, the thunderstorm activity, temperatures will be a little bit cooler. How's that for a photo? Usually this time of year, late June, early July, some of the best wildflower viewing, especially as you start to go up into the higher elevations as the snowfields melt out. Beautiful shot there. And we're also looking at a beautiful shot of some freshly cut hay. As Larry said, it was a perfect day to hay yesterday in many areas, and it really was if you were in the lower humidity areas. Beautiful shot there. Always good to have a day or two or a little bit longer to get that hay cut and dried out. Nice shot of the rainbow activity from the thunderstorms. This happened on Sunday with the thunderstorm activity. And here's a shot down from Arizona of a monsoonal-driven thunderstorm. Now, where the thunderstorms weren't, it was hot, and that'll be the case. And one thing in the desert southwest, when we get into these monsoonal thunderstorms, not only do you have the potential for some very heavy rain, but dust storms as outflow winds from these thunderstorms can cause dust storms to pick up really quickly, and that'll be something that in the southwest United States it'll be a concern here over the next few days. Up in Leadville yesterday, you can see where that moisture got further north and the showers and thunderstorms developed. So basically, we've got to track the moisture. The water vapor this morning showing things very well. Here's the low in California, and you can see the shading, the different thickness of the clouds and the thickness of the amount of water vapor in the air. And if we were to outline kind of where the deeper plume is, you can kind of see right here fingering its way on up. But you can see the higher humidity is all the way through there. But you can see southern Colorado, New Mexico here, down into Mexico and into West Texas. That monsoonal moisture plume is deep. And we've got the circulations working together here to bring it up. We also have, and I'll show you this here in a moment, very weak winds aloft, and that plays a role in how things will unfold here over the next few days. So by late afternoon, here's your precipitable water. You can see we've got this patch of deeper moisture here, so there will be thunderstorms in Oregon and Northern California. And then along the moisture plume here is where you're going to see the better shower and thunderstorm activity within these boundaries here. And when we look at the thunderstorm prediction, where the thunder and lightning will be this afternoon, you can see we've got a patch now that comes out into the eastern plains, kind of that day 2 scenario with return flow and a little bit of upslope. Then you can see the moisture working its way up from the southwest, getting along the Wasatch, western areas of Wyoming, into Idaho, and then there's the thunderstorm activity back over that area there. When we take a look at the Storm Prediction Center, they have highlighted this area here as a marginal risk. Not widespread, certainly nothing like what we had on Sunday, but there will be a few stronger thunderstorms popping up in that darker green shaded area there. Winds aloft. This will be something to watch over the next couple of days because where the thunderstorms develop first over the higher terrain, the winds aloft are extremely weak. What I'm showing you here is the winds at 500 millibars or roughly at 18,000 feet. So if you look at the scale down here, 12 or less is the white. Now as you get into the darker colors, winds aloft are a little bit stronger. You can see there from the scale. But if I were to kind of outline where that deeper monsoon plume is today, and this is where it'll be tomorrow and expanding, the winds aloft are very weak, especially right here. So what'll happen a lot of times is the thunderstorms build over the mountains in the higher terrain, but there's nothing to push them off. The winds aloft just aren't enough to really cause the showers and thunderstorms to move. So they'll go through their life cycle over the higher terrain. Hence, this is why you'll tend to get flash flooding in these monsoonal patterns, because the winds aloft are weak. The thunderstorms go through their whole life cycle over the same area. So you can have concentrations of a lot of rain in a small area and then in rugged terrain, going through the canyons, going through the arroyos, and that's where you can get some flash flooding. And that'll be something that today, but especially tomorrow and Thursday, needs to be watched. The moisture gets deeper tomorrow on Wednesday. You can see the patches of blue and green. We also got this notch of dryness right here, and you'll see this in the thunderstorm prediction tomorrow, to where parts of eastern Colorado, this area right here, even in eastern New Mexico, the monsoon plume gets pushed further west. So you can see there's a lot more color tomorrow, a lot more definition in the thunderstorms being a little bit more robust. And then the winds aloft, again, very, very weak. So you're going to see the thunderstorms not moving much at all once they form. Then on Thursday, there's your deepest moisture. We've got over 200% of average for early July, which means a lot of water content in the whole column of the atmosphere from the bottom to the top. And there are a little more winds Thursday. They're kind of coming right up from the south. So what you'll get is thunderstorms that we do what's called training. They'll form and then they'll go over the same location as they form. But thunderstorms will start to move a little bit more, but certainly not a lot on Thursday. And there's your thunderstorm prediction on Thursday. You can see the front range areas here because there's not much lifting of the atmosphere. Won't see too much, but boy, you get over the mountainous terrain, you get where there's going to be some lift over the mountains. That's where your thunderstorm activity is going to be. So the next 3 days is going to be the busiest in the southwestern United States and along and west of the divide. By the 4th of July, Friday, there's the north and eastward shift of the deeper moisture. Notice drier air starts to come back in, at least temporarily. This will really knock down the thunderstorm activity in the southwest, except down here near the Mexico border as the deeper moisture, the next plume wants to come up northward. But as we go into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 4th of July weekend, the western areas of the divide dry out, while along and east of the divide, this monsoonal moisture plume is going to be around. So as we go through the 4th of July, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you'll see that the thunderstorms are going to be in that deeper moisture. So as you plan your 4th of July weekend, Friday through Sunday, you'll notice that here we are on Friday, the thunderstorms will be more to the north and out into the plains. Saturday, the moisture isn't as deep, but there's certainly enough of it for active thunderstorm activity along and east of the divide. And on Sunday, we're going to start to see a little bit of a resurgence of moisture again, with the high starting to reform. We still have the low off the California coast. That'll push the moisture in. And Sunday is going to be an active day along the front range and plains of thunderstorms. So you can see west of the divide, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there's a bit of a break before here's the next monsoonal moisture plume early next week that'll be coming northward again. So plan ahead and remember that this type of pattern, your mornings are great. Your early to mid to late afternoons is where you want to be off the mountaintops, be off the higher ridges. Watch out for the potential for lightning with these afternoon and evening storms. And temperatures are going to be pretty warm. This is the 5-day period from today through Sunday So you can see the warmth here out across the northern Rockies and the northern plains. And then you can see the blue, the coolness under the deeper moisture that's been coming up from the southwest. We'll have more for you tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday.